Today I'm having a lovely chat with Nick Gorberry, who's from sunny Australia.
Yeah,
Welcome, Nick. Lovely
thank
to
you.
see you today. I know we're sort of a few hours apart, aren't we? With you being about 11 hours ahead or something.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Always in the future.
Always in the future. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. I wanted to ask what your journey was like, because you are not originally from Australia, are you?
No, I'm not. I am Canadian, but before I was Canadian, I was born in Guyana in South America. So it's been a journey from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, back to the southern hemisphere, and it's been quite a journey. There's been ups and downs and valleys and peaks, and but what's interesting, Carlin, is that throughout this time, the interesting thing for me is how life takes you through those ups and downs, but also when I can look back and see it was all by design. For me, I do see them as see that journey as it was by design, and there are no regrets.
It's strange, isn't it? So how we start out in life, and as you say, it was by design for yourself. But it's strange, isn't it? How paths go
Yeah,
and where they
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. It does, and I was mentioning I was at a business chamber meeting the other day, or actually I was at a retreat with a group that I'm part of core team of a group that is doing some work here in Oceania. But we were at a retreat because we wanted to promote some things in Australia and New Zealand. And I was saying to them, who would have thought, and I keep mentioning this, who would have thought that coming from Ghana, that would be here in Australia trying in looking at influencing people, and when I say influencing people, to help them in a positive way, speaking to youths, doing training in across different towns, meeting someone like Ian, who's
Yeah.
our mutual friend, and just being on a mastermind with people in Australia, and it's incredible to think about it. It's not only incredible for me; it's humbling. It's really humbling.
Mm. It really it makes you think it, doesn't it? When you sort of think, well, why did I choose that path, or why did I do that? There's always a sort of background reason, isn't there, why we actually go down a path of things, or maybe we just don't, and things just evolve as
It
a natural course of, and that takes us from where we start to middle to end.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think it's that evolution in life because one of the things I do love is the law of awareness, and it says you must know yourself to grow yourself. And oftentimes, I think I was chatting with someone the other day. It's having that awareness of where we are. Many people, and I think we all in this world, we want to grow. One of the things in the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I don't know if you're familiar with it or
No.
if you've heard it, but Wattles talks about the human soul or the human being is always looking for fuller expansion and expression. We all want to grow. We all want to be more and have more and do more. And sometimes people say, okay, it's having more. You don't need to have more. Yeah, we do need to have more because we all want to do bigger things in life, and having more means having that ability to do it. But anyway, I digress with that. What I was trying to say is that we want to expand and we want to do more, but mm, uh, most people who want to just expand, who want to become more, may be looking for it overnight, and they may not be willing to put in the work to get there.
mm,
You and I know in going from one place to the next. That law of awareness for me, in terms of growth, personal growth, is knowing yourself, is how to be able to undo a lot of things, and that we've learned in life, and even create a whole new thinking, a whole new mindset to get us where we want to go and put in
mm.
the hard work. Right? I'm sure, you know, Carlin's card box, it didn't just happen overnight. You didn't say, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it there," and you got the success. You had to put in some hard work to get
Yes, I think
get there. Yeah.
that there's always some work to do, isn't there? I mean, some people fall straight into what they want to and what they have a passion for. Others have to really work hard for it. They have to work on themselves. They have to sort of think about, how they want to come at it, and whether they need to have that work done and, excuse me, do that work on themselves to get to the next stage of how they want to run a business, if that's what they so wish that they want to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not everybody's path to run a
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, and that is true, and I think in essence, we'd all like to run a business. We'd all like to be a business owner or an entrepreneur, but it does take hard work. This past week and last Thursday, I was on a mastermind. We were talking about sort of the entrepreneur community, or development and mindset, and a lot of it comes down to not just innovation, but being creative and having an idea and running with that idea. One of the things that I've learned is, when in the past, when I got an idea, I would share it with people, and you've got to be very careful who you share your ideas with, because
Yes.
they're not always vested in that, and they go, "Ah, no,
Mhm.
it's not going to work. Oh, why do you think you can do that? Or who do you think you are?" And you've got to have that right circle of people around you to help you and move on. Yeah, sounds like an idea. In the same book, Wattles talks about doing things in a certain way, and having the idea. You take it in there, and have a spirit of creativity, and don't let competition or competitiveness get the best of you, because that begins to destroy you.
Mm.
He talks about there's enough for everyone. Um, in this world. And it's strange, because that book was written over 100 years ago, and he talks about industry. He goes, at that point in time, the railway industry was up and running, and there were a few players and everything. And he said, you may not be able to own the railway, or get into it, but you can begin to look at the airline industry. And it was funny enough, he talked about that, because that's growing. Again, the book is over 100 years old, and to read that, and then look at what the airline industry is today, and still growing, and it's still growing, because you can get into so many things with that. Yeah, yeah,
It is, isn't it? And actually, I mean, 100 years really is a snip of time, isn't it?
yeah,
And how things have
yeah,
actually developed in that short space of time. I mean, a lot of people say 100 years, that's a long time. Well, in evolution and the as the world is, it's, a speck of dust, isn't it, really, 100
mm,
years? And, I think things have grown exponentially with, you had the planes made out of paper, and the biplanes, and the
yeah,
planes that you flap the wings and you take off a cliff and break your neck,
yeah.
and then, things just evolve, and, clever people coming along with different designs, to where we are now. It is really quite incredible in that time how it has evolved, and it's actually a huge beast now, isn't it? Really.
It is. And the more you look at it, and so it's evolved from just you know travel in a plane, to looking at getting into space now, and growing with different things. I
Mm.
mean, who would have thought 100 years ago? that there'll be an international space station somewhere up there and people can go. You know, who would have thought there's talk about establishing
Yeah, it's
different
really
homes on Mars, right? Yeah,
it
yeah,
is mind blowing,
right.
isn't it? To
Yeah,
what? Well, yes, as you say, they're talking about you know, life on Mars. Well,
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah. We're just trying to get around to life here on Earth, you know. But that, you know, but but it all comes back to just that entrepreneurial mindset and
yes.
expanding and having that vision and for more and there could be more out there.
Mm. No, it
Yeah.
is. It's you know, I mean, I remember you know, back in the 80s when we had, I don't know whether you have heard of Freddie Laker.
Yes. Yeah.
He, yeah,
Yeah.
the DC-10s. I
Mm,
made my first trip to America
yeah.
in a DC-10, and we have Richard Branson, who you
Yeah.
know flew balloon. I was fortunate enough to meet him a few years ago
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
when we were doing a hot air balloon. But he's got his fingers in all sorts of pies, hasn't he, with hot air
Yeah.
balloons? But it's all adventure, and it's all to do with flight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yes, it's
Yeah.
quite incredible. And then he's got his rocket that is taking people into the lunar atmosphere. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just really
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said that because we do this mastermind. You know Pat Gross and I think
Yes.
so we do this mastermind with a group of us, and one of the books we were looking at was what's the one that Richard Branson wrote? Just Do It. I can't remember the whole name of the book.
Hmm.
And in that book, he was talking about going to advice for advice to Freddie Laker,
Yeah,
who had started his own airlines, and but he got shafted by British Airways in a
he
way that
did.
and
Yes.
so interesting because talking about the entrepreneur or business owner's mindset, can we learn from others who have gone
Mm,
before us? And that's precisely what Branson did. That he partnered with or connected with Laker, so Freddie, and he got that all the ins and outs of it, and he said, just be careful with this and learning from that. So when he got pushed back from those major airlines, he was prepared for it,
mm,
and so that's interesting because we can't negate the lessons learned from others, and
yeah,
and I think sometimes when people get in, I say, oh, no, that'll never happen to me. That won't happen to me. But I think with wisdom, Richard Branson, took that advice, took that mentoring, and was able to be successful as he is now.
yeah.
Right? Yeah,
No, he's quite a character. Well, they're both quite characters, really.
yeah, yeah,
You know, Sir Freddie, back in the day. And yes, and of course, Richard Branson started his business, I think, using a phone box.
yeah,
And yeah, it was it's quite a story.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, as you say, you know, we can all learn from we can all take snippets from people that have really, you know, had highs and fallen. Because if you don't have highs and you fall, you don't learn, do you, through the business
yeah,
world
yeah.
and
Uh,
through personal life too.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was just about to say. It's the passion that we have within us to do what we want to do, and stick with it because there are times when, and I think for me personally, when it was easy to say, okay, yeah, I quit this, or I have something to fall back on, and there are times when you have an idea and you have to run with it, and you have for me, I think for everyone, we have a purpose, we have a calling in our lives. And when you understand that calling, stick with it. Um, we've heard the phrase burn the ships, and there's no going back. And I think um, my mentor, John Maxwell, one of the things he says, once you have a taste of significance, success, success doesn't really, not that it doesn't matter. We all want to be successful, but after you hit that success point, what else do you do? Now we can begin to lead a life of significance, not just impacting me, but impacting others around me. Success is all about me, and significance is about how many
Mm.
all the people that we can impact. And I think that's where taking some examples from people who were successful and looking at it, what is real, asking myself, what really is my passion? Who do I want to help? How can I help them? What am I going to do to help them? And just stick with it and keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it's very interesting when you sort of take peel the layers back,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is. And that's something that we really have to do. It's it's not a it's not everybody's cup of tea to peel the layers back, and once we do that, it hurts. And and as you
Mm.
begin to peel it, it hurts. It opens up some things. It shows us the
Yes.
our thinking process. It shows us the actions that we do. It shows us. I think I was talking to somebody the other day, and I go, "Yeah, I used to be be a procrastinator, and that was one of the things we were talking about, making excuses. And procrastination is one of those things that we do make excuses. Um, I was sharing that growing up in school, I always say to people, I used to have the saying, "I'm a late bloomer," because I didn't learn, especially when it comes down to mathematics. I didn't learn things very quickly, and so I would say I'm a late bloomer. And it's interesting how you can build that mindset and you take it into adulthood, that when things don't work out the way you would think, or when it doesn't come forward, you can say, "Well, look, I'm a late bloomer." Um, and I got called on the mastermind and says, "Well, was that an excuse?" I go, "Yeah, it was. I was a procrastinator, and I just kind of made the excuse rather than putting in the hard work." Yes, you've got to put in the hard work, the smart work, but the hard work,
Mm.
because life doesn't just come easy,
No,
for many of us, right? Yeah,
you have to work at it, and
yeah.
if it did come easy, there wouldn't be any satisfaction to that, I don't think.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. And I think it brings out, when you work hard for something, um, yeah, there's more a sense of achievement, of success.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of an enjoyment. Yeah, yeah. It,
Yes, most
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Rome, what the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, was it?
Absolutely not.
You
Yeah.
just you have to sort of build, and then you sort of fall back a bit, and then you go forward, and it's a perpetual sort of forward and back, isn't it? Because not
It,
everything is going to work, and if you don't make
yeah.
mistakes, you're not going to learn.
Yeah, yeah, and that is very true. Learning, making mistakes, and I know going to school. One of the things that we learned is, don't make mistakes. And as a child, and I don't know about you, and in the UK there, but we when we were studying, we had a UK curriculum, a UK syllabus that we did. That we followed through. It was developed by the University of London, and I think one was University of Cambridge. Um, but we followed that curriculum that was designed. There was an overseas curriculum for many of the countries in the, well, just be former British Commonwealth countries. Um, and everybody would say, "Oh, you failed," or if something happens, you failed, or when you get your test paper back, and it goes, you got a C instead of an A or a B or whatever. I remember my mom asking me, you know, she always kind of compared me to others. So what did your friend get? Let's go, you know. But it's learning, making that mistakes, making those mistakes, and I can look back now and I can say, yeah. it was painful at the time. I didn't want to hear the things that I heard from people, but I learned and I grew from them. And as I became an adult, we all want to be successful,
Mm.
but most coming back to business owners, most entrepreneurs, we're talking about Freddie Laker and Richard Branson. They probably would say mistakes will get you forward
Yes,
because one of the things I've learned in mistakes, they're just stepping stones towards success.
they are, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes,
eliminating the things around you that don't matter. I think it was
yes.
talking, commenting on a post by Dominic here in Melbourne,
Hmm.
and I was just saying to him, uh, you know, learning by the mistakes will help move us forward, because we want to make those mistakes or learn the lessons early, and the quicker you learn the lessons, the quicker you can move forward, because if you don't learn the lesson, it keeps repeating itself until we
Yeah.
learn them. Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very, very true. But
Mm.
we're not all good at everything, and you have some people take a bit longer to learn different
Yeah.
elements, don't they? And others they really grasp it quickly. We're not all on the same level at any one time.
Yeah. 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 So what about you? How is where you are today? What's your biggest lesson that might have got you move you forward? Um,
Um, well, just I think just enjoying what you do
mm,
is the biggest lesson, I think, because if you don't enjoy what you do, you don't do it very well.
yeah, yeah, that is really so good. I think it goes with the adage that says, love what you do, and do
Mm,
what you love, right?
yes.
And if you do that, then you wouldn't work a day in your life.
Well, that's very true. And a
Yeah,
lot of people say,
mm,
"Well, I really do enjoy what I do, and it doesn't seem like work."
yeah, 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 and yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things I've learned a few years ago, Carolyn, uh, I know we want to have success in our lives, and we want to bear fruit. Um, uh, but having bearing that fruit, one of the things I heard someone says is that the tree never eats its own fruit. And a lot of the times, coming back to having the success and bearing fruit, yes, we will have things that come in our lives to help us to live, to do good, but the fruit that we bear is almost always meant for someone else and to be able to share it. So the lessons we learn on the way, we can help others, we can share with others, we can inspire others, we can uplift them, encourage them, help them to be empowered in their own journey. So that's one of the things I love, but I'm so passionate about is to get to a point where we can become more to people and make the world a better place. Now I know it sounds like, yeah, nice
Bit
and
cliche.
fairy, very much so, yeah, make the world a better place. But we can,
Yes,
yeah,
we can,
we
and
can,
it's little steps, isn't it? We don't. There's small steps of achievement
yeah,
that we
yeah,
all have, and if we accept those, then we're going to get a lot further than if we are expecting to leap 100 feet and have gained XYZ experience.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and I like that. I like how you say, it's the small step or the little things. One of my favorite quotes is by Gandhi: "Be the change you wish to see in this world." And the when I first heard the quote, one of the things I was thinking of, be the change you wish to see in this world. But it didn't really dawn on me until years later. We wish to see change in the world, so you got to do something that's great and be the change, help to be that catalyst for the change. And then one of the things I realize is that if I can change something small in my own life, in my way of thinking, in my habits, then I have changed the world
Mm,
because it wasn't the same as it was 5 seconds ago if I changed something. And
exactly.
that had a profound
Yeah,
impact on me. And if each of us in this world can change something small to make it
yeah.
better,
Very
we've
true.
changed the world, right? We've changed the
Very
world.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Nick, it's been absolutely fascinating chatting to
yeah,
you, and I'm sure this won't be the last conversations that we
yeah,
have. But
yeah.
for now, I think we need to wrap things up. And
Sure
thank you
thing.
so
Yeah.
much for getting up
Oh,
so
you're
early
very welcome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're very
and
welcome.
chatting with
Yeah,
me. Thank you.
yeah. You're very welcome, Carolyn. Thank you.